of that in you?
There's a lot of Yvette in me. A lot. Um, I would say I have the same love of, I ain't gonna say babies, because I mean I love babies, but I like kids, and I love teenagers. And my mama, when they get to be teenagers, she said, but I like teenagers. But I have that same, I guess, characteristics or sense of responsibility in me, to where I always wanted like my nieces and nephews to be around. Like now I have, gatherings over here all the time in our house. Like I'm always like, oh, y'all want to have game night? Or y'all want to do this and that? I love having people over here. And I'll cook. I love having people over here, because my parents always, it was unspoken, but they always instilled in us that sense of family. Like, you don't abandon your family. You always, I guess, look out for each other. And even when we argue or we fight or whatever, it's one of those like, well, yeah, we can fight, but nobody else better not interject or have anything to say, because yeah, we don't do that. So I have, that's very strong in me. So I know I get that from my mama. Um, and then my mama was never big on advice, like flat out advice.
Uh-huh.
She was more so you just have to, kind of watch how my mama moves and take it from there. So I would say with that, I have taken like the whole thing of like always making sure my kids are good and are first. I would say that I definitely have that. Like I always made sure that my kids were good. Like I can go without, although I will say again, even through another example of God's grace, I haven't always had a whole lot, and I had kids, but I have never had to go without food or a warm bed to sleep in, whether it was at my house, my mama's house, my sister's house. There was always somewhere that we could go to where we knew we would be good. So I know we got that from my mama, because my mom was always gonna let you stay at her house. Like I remember my brother in high school, one of his friends came and stayed with us. I feel like for like half the school year, and there was like there were no questions. Like it was no questions asked, no discussion. He was just there and didn't leave. But and we didn't think anything about it. We didn't mind. It was like, oh, okay, cool, okay, another person. But as I've gotten older, she's said, like she always knew everybody would be safe if they were at our house, so she would prefer for them to be there. She didn't really care what the circumstances are. She just liked to be that resource. And I would say I'm about like that. Like I don't really care. If you're hungry, you can come over here. I'm gonna give you some food. So yeah, I have that from my mom.
Ooh, that's amazing. Because talking to her, I was like, man, I need to pinch her. So now I need to pinch you, because that's not the norm. It's probably how the norm should be, but that show ain't the norm. Because when I look at her pictures and then, y'all's pictures, and I'm like, Jiminy Cricket, it's just amazing to me. I
Oh
love my
yeah,
family, but I like people being where they need to be. And y'all like
yeah.
everybody being together. And it's like, man, praise God.
Yeah, because people just think I was crazy, because I would always have my ex-husband's kids, and he's remarried, but I would take their kids all the time, like all the time. And they'd be like, "Whose kids are those?" And I'm like, "Oh, they're my ex-husband and his wife." And they'd be like, "Wait, what?" They're like, "And they coming to spend the night at your house?" And I'm like, "They've been here for 3 days." I'm like, "Yeah." And they'd be like, "So like, your man don't mind?" And I'm like, "I don't care. That's part of me. Like they come with me.
That's
Like they're an
amazing.
extension of my kids. They're not mine, but they're still mine." And I looked at it as from a perspective of they are extensions of my children. Take it in the kitchen. You can have them take it in the kitchen. Sorry. But they're extensions of my children. And I would never take that away from them. So I'm like, I don't care, they're kids. I love them all the same. They want to come to my house, they can come to my house.
Wow, Summer, that is wonderful. That's a God thing that God has done that for you guys to give you that desire and to give you a mama like that, that it's not a facade, it's real and you can see it's real. Now, I have a question. I was on your Facebook page looking at you and
Hmm.
your three girls. Girl, you got females. And I was like, females are interesting. They're not, in my opinion, boys. I just have one son, but he was so much easier. And females can be, I'm one, so I know I can talk about us. I mean, can be temperamental at times. So I know it's not easy. But with the three personalities, when you're looking at them, do you see a little bit of you in all three of them, something different? And
Yes. Like, okay, so my oldest daughter, Madison, she has, like you saw in me when I was younger, she has that. She's very, I wouldn't say standoffish, but she's definitely gonna have to check you out first before she fool with you. That's her all day, all day. But she's a very strong, determined person. Like I can remember when she was younger, she wanted to know how to ride a bike without training wheels. And I was busy, so she was, and we were at Tiff's old house, but she was at Tiff's house, like just riding around, like in the backyard. She was falling, and I was, looking out the window, but she stayed after until she got it, and she got it
wow.
that same day. And I was like, she just taught herself how to ride a freaking bike. I mean, like what? But she did gymnastics. She taught herself that. Like she would get on the trampoline and do her flips. So she has that part of me. My middle daughter, Kennedy, is the bubbly personality. She has a very infectious laugh. She has a very sweet disposition. Um, and she has more of the, I would say she's more of, like wanting people around. Like when she's at home, she's, with Quinn, she'll do all kind of little activities. She's very creative and artistic. So that's her. And then Quinn is a mixture of both of them combined. She's, she
Oh, girl, that's
she'll
the
be the
lady.
one. She'll be the one, Miss Charlotte.
So I saw her on your page where she was a president, had a fist up.
Yes.
And then where Joe Siva, somebody couldn't come, it's coming, and she
And
was,
she's not crying.
girl, I'm like, how she know about a JoJo, whoever, and it was like, look at this baby, just
I was like,
grown.
wow, really? I was like, you're going, calm down.
I love it. I love it. That takes me where my next thought was when your mom told me, because I told her that I thought, because you don't know if you don't know, I
Hmm.
thought, how can you vet play favoritism to this one baby? And then she sounds serious when she's fussing at Summer on social media. Why did you take her away? And how could you? And I'm like, is she kidding? But you could feel she wasn't kidding. But then when she told me that you were pregnant and was given bleak news that the baby, 21 weeks, that they were going to abort. I think that's what she said, they wanted to. And
Hmm.
so hearing her as a grandmother is one thing, but I thought I would love to hear how Summer felt as the parent. And after you had been through the twins, and then you got this baby growing inside of you, then even after the birth, how you felt also at every follow up visit when they're expecting something horrible. It's like, how did you have hope? How did you even deal with that?